to go over. You were asking me the other day what a hedge fund was, and so I thought I didn't give you a very good answer. So I created this little thing here. So I want to first go over basic stuff, and then I'll make another one about what they actually do. The main difference between the main differences between a hedge fund and a mutual fund is are that the hedge fund is not regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, so they have much more flexibility to be creative, to be secretive, and to take risk. As a result of them not being regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission, they're not allowed to market their services, meaning you won't see commercials for hedge funds, whereas you see tons of commercials on TV, in the paper, for mutual funds. Also, in order to invest, hedge funds are not allowed to solicit the public, which means that in order to invest in a hedge fund, you need to be an accredited investor. And I think what an accredited investor is, the definition is that you have a net worth greater than $1 million. You can also be an accredited investor by virtue of your education or experience. I guess if you can demonstrate that you are capable of understanding the financial products and the strategies of a hedge fund by virtue of your education or past experiences, you could be qualified as an accredited investor. The other differences have to do with the way the hedge fund manager, I think it's called a general partner, is compensated. Before I go into that, I want to take a look at the structure of a hedge fund. That's what a chart I made here could be possibly useful. So the hedge fund is usually set up as a limited liability company. So here I call it Vanessa Capital. So that would be that could be your company in Las Vegas. It is the actual hedge fund. And then as a separate entity, there's the general partner or the management company. The management company could be just one person. So, if Sergio is your managing partner, or if you and Sergio together are the management company, so you're set up as a separate entity who has a stake in the hedge fund. And so I'm going to do a numerical example. So let's say we have a hedge fund with total asset value of, well, $100 million. And let's say that the general partner, the managing partner, or the management company has about 10% of that amount coming from their own money. So they have some skin in the game, and usually, that's going to be required to have other people invest in the hedge fund, because if the guy or the company that gets all the rewards doesn't have anything at stake in the matter, people won't be interested in investing in the hedge fund. So here we have a hedge fund with asset value of about $100 million, which is relatively small actually for a hedge fund. And the managing partner or the management company has 10% or $10 million at stake of their own money. And then you have a bunch of people who are all qualified investors who've decided to, let's say this guy has decided to put 10% of so that's about $10 million. Let's say this one is 30%, which is about, it's $30 million. This investor is also 30%. or $30 million, and let's say this one is 20%, and that's $20 million. So here we have our hedge fund at the beginning of, say, year 2014, and it's set up as a limited liability company with a separate limited liability company that is the management company or the general managing partner of the hedge fund. The general partner, managing partner, has got some skin in the game. In this case, for the sake of the example, I said about $10 million. Now, what's interesting is the mutual fund manager, okay, the regulated by the Security and Exchange Commission mutual funds, the mutual fund manager is going to be compensated as a function of the total asset value of the fund. So let's say a mutual fund manager would get 2% of the total asset value. So when it's set up like that, and mutual funds are set up like that, the incentive for the mutual fund manager is to market the fund to the max, so that a lot of people are investing in the fund, and the size of the fund grows, not necessarily its performances, but the size of it, because his fee is based on the total asset value of the fund. Now, for a hedge fund, it's quite different. There are two sources of compensation for the management company or for the managing partner. Usually they get 2% of the average asset value to pay for their salaries, their computers, the salaries of their employees if they have any. And so in this case, let's say that at the end of 2014, this fund has grown by $20 million, and now the value of the assets in this hedge fund are $120 million, which is very good. They made 20% return, fantastic. And the average, roughly the average during that year is $110 million. So from the average between 100 million and 120 million, it's $110 million. So the average asset value is $110 million, and the management company gets 2% of that, which is $2.2 million, salaries, building, computers, what have you. But on top of that, the management company, or the managing partner will also get compensated based on performances. That compensation is typically 20% of the net profit of the hedge fund. So 20%. I've heard that very successful hedge fund managers have been able to get 30% or 35% maybe of the net profit of the fund. So to go back to my example, the fund has grown to $120 million during the 2014. At the end of 2014, the 2% management fee is paid to the management company. So $2.2 million is paid to the management company. So what is left is 120 million minus 2.2, which is $117.8 million, and that is the net value, not the net profit, the net value of the fund after the management fee has been paid. So when we look at the profit, the net profit, it's we went from $100 million to $117.8 million. So that's a net profit of $17.8 million, right? Of that, the typical hedge fund manager will get 20%. and I think 20% of $17.8 million dollar is 3,560,000 dollars. So $3.56 million. That amount is paid to the managing partner, or to the management company. So the management company now is getting a compensation based on performances, this $3.56 million plus the management fee. So the total amount paid to the management company, paid into this, which could be just one person, is $5.76 million. $5.76 million. So the management company gets the management fee plus the performance, and we get $5.76 million paid to Vanessa Capital Management LLC, or Vanessa on her own, or whatever it is. So that's ends my first presentation. Hope you will find it helpful, and then I'll make another one on the different strategies that those hedge funds pursue.